Welcome to the Mindful Zone, a space where science meets stillness and ancient wisdom becomes modern healing. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded by noise notifications, deadlines, comparisons, and expectations. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, disconnected, or simply out of touch with ourselves. But what if there was a tool free, accessible, and deeply transformative that could help you reclaim calm, clarity, and control over your mind? That tool is meditation. This isn't just about sitting cross-legged in silence. This is about rewiring your brain, transforming your emotional landscape, and living more fully in the present moment. And the best part? Science is now proving what Buddhist sages have known for thousands of years. Meditation doesn't just relax you, it changes you. From reducing stress and anxiety to improving focus, resilience, and even compassion, meditation has the power to reshape your inner world. Whether you're completely new to mindfulness or someone who's been practicing for years, this journey will invite you to slow down, breathe, and explore the profound effects of meditation on the brain and body. We'll take you through 10 carefully crafted chapters, each one diving deeper into how meditation works, why it matters, and how you can bring its benefits into your everyday life. You'll discover the roots of meditation in Buddhism, the neuroscience behind mindful awareness, and practical ways to make meditation a daily habit no matter how busy your life may seem. Along the way, you'll also experience guided moments of stillness, breathing exercises, and visualizations that will help you connect with your inner peace. So, whether you're watching during a quiet morning, a stressful lunch break, or before bed, I invite you to press play, let go of distraction, and step into a calmer, clearer version of yourself. Because meditation isn't something you do, it's something you become. And in this mindful zone, there's no rush, no judgment, just presence. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is meditation? Meditation is one of the most profound tools available to human beings, not just for relaxation or stress relief, but for transformation. At its core, meditation is a practice that helps us cultivate awareness, deepen our connection with the present moment, and understand the nature of our own minds. But before we go deeper into the science, the brain changes, or the spiritual roots, let's start by clearly defining what meditation really is, and perhaps more importantly, what it is not. Meditation is often misunderstood as a technique to empty the mind, to stop thinking altogether, or to escape from reality. But this could not be further from the truth. In fact, meditation doesn't ask you to control your thoughts at all. Instead, it invites you to observe them, to step back and witness the constant stream of mental activity that flows through your consciousness every second of the day. Think of the mind like a river, always moving, always changing. Thoughts, emotions, memories, sensations, judgments, and stories all flow through it constantly. Most of the time we are caught up in the current, carried away by whatever thought arises next. But meditation gives us the opportunity to sit on the riverbank and simply watch. That's the essence of meditation, cultivating awareness, not trying to change anything, but learning to see things as they truly are, without judgment or attachment. So, if meditation isn't about stopping thoughts, what exactly does it involve? At its simplest, meditation is a process of training attention. By placing your focus on a single object such as the breath, a mantra, a sound, or even a candle flame, you begin to develop stability in the mind. When distractions arise, and you notice them, acknowledge them, and gently bring your attention back to your chosen focus. This simple act of returning again and again builds something called mental muscle. It strengthens your ability to stay grounded, focused, and aware, even when life gets chaotic. There are many different types of meditation, each with its own unique approach and purpose. Some are designed to calm the mind, others to develop insight, compassion, or emotional resilience. Let's explore a few of the most common forms. Mindfulness meditation is perhaps the most widely practiced today. Rooted in Buddhist tradition, mindfulness involves paying attention in a deliberate, non-judgmental way to whatever is happening in the present moment. Whether it's the feeling of the breath entering your nostrils, the sensation of your feet touching the floor, or the sound of wind outside, mindfulness teaches you to anchor yourself in the here and now. Focused attention meditation is another foundational practice. Here, you direct your full attention to a specific object, like the breath, a candle flame, or a repeated word or phrase known as a mantra. When your mind wanders, and it will, you simply notice the distraction and return your focus to the object. This builds concentration, mental clarity, and discipline. Loving kindness. Meditation or metta is a beautiful form of meditation that cultivates compassion and goodwill toward oneself and others. Practitioners repeat phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease," first directing these wishes inwardly, then extending them outward to loved ones, neutral people, difficult individuals, and eventually, all beings. Body scan meditation is especially helpful for grounding the mind in the body. In this practice, you mentally move your attention slowly from the top of your head down to your toes, noticing any sensations, areas of tension, warmth, or discomfort. Body scans are particularly effective for reducing anxiety, improving sleep, and increasing body awareness. Movement meditation such as yoga, tai chi, or walking meditation brings awareness to physical movement. Rather than rushing through activities automatically, you perform them with full presence, noticing each step, each breath, each shift in posture. Then there's transcendental meditation, which uses a personalized mantra given by a trained instructor. This technique allows the mind to effortlessly settle into a state of deep rest and inner silence. And finally, insight meditation, or vipassana, seeks to develop a clear understanding of the true nature of reality, impermanence, dissatisfaction, and selflessness. Through sustained observation of bodily sensations and mental events, practitioners gain insight into how suffering arises and how it can be overcome. All of these practices share a common goal: to help us become more awake, more present, and more free from unconscious patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior. Now, while meditation has been practiced for thousands of years in various spiritual traditions, especially in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism, and certain branches of Christianity and Islam, it is not inherently religious. Anyone, regardless of belief system, background, or culture, can benefit from meditation. It's a universal tool for mental training and emotional well-being. In modern secular contexts, meditation has been largely adapted into therapeutic frameworks such as mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT. These programs have helped millions reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and burnout. But why do so many people find meditation beneficial? Because our default mode, the way we naturally operate most of the time, is to be lost in thought, reacting to emotions, and being pulled around by external circumstances. We spend enormous amounts of time either replaying the past or worrying about the future. Rarely are we fully engaged in the present moment. Meditation offers us a way to break free from this automatic cycle. It teaches us to pause, to observe, to respond rather than react, to be less attached to our thoughts and more connected to our experience. Over time, this leads to greater emotional regulation, improved focus, reduced stress, better sleep, increased empathy, and a deeper sense of peace and well-being. But none of this happens overnight. Like any skill, meditation requires consistency, patience, and kindness towards yourself. You don't need to meditate for hours to see results. Even 5 minutes of daily practice can begin to make a noticeable difference. As little as 10 minutes a day over several weeks can start to reshape neural pathways, build resilience, and improve mood. The key is regularity. Consistency is more important than duration. What matters most is showing up, even if only for a few minutes. even if your mind feels restless, even if you fall asleep, even if you forget. Every time you sit down to meditate, you're reinforcing a new habit, a new relationship with your mind. And over time, this practice begins to transform not just your meditation sessions, but your entire life. So if you've never meditated before, or if you've tried once or twice and felt like you weren't doing it right, know this. Meditation is not about doing it perfectly. It's about simply being present. There is no wrong way to meditate, only different ways. Some days your mind may be calm and clear. Other days it might feel like a hurricane inside. Both experiences are part of the process. What matters is your willingness to keep coming back to your breath, to your body, to your experience. Let's take a closer look at how you can get started with a basic meditation practice. To begin, all you need is a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for a short period of time, even just 5 minutes. Find a comfortable seated position. You can sit on a cushion, on a chair, or even lie down if that works best for your body. Keep your spine upright so that you remain alert, but allow your shoulders and jaw to relax. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Take a few deep breaths to settle in. Then, allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Now bring your attention to the sensation of the breath entering and leaving your body. Feel the rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Notice the coolness of air entering your nostrils and the warmth of it leaving. If your mind wanders, and it will simply acknowledge where it went, maybe even name it gently. Planning, worrying, remembering, judging, and then return your attention to the breath. No need to struggle or force anything. Just keep bringing your focus back with kindness and curiosity. Continue this for a few more moments. If you want to extend your session, you can set a timer for 5, 10, or 15 minutes. Once your time is complete, gently open your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel physically, emotionally, mentally. This is meditation. Simple, powerful, profound, and it's available to you anytime, anywhere. As you continue your journey, you may explore different styles, experiment with guided sessions, or attend retreats. There are countless apps, books, videos, and communities that can support your growth. But remember, meditation is not about chasing after states of bliss or fixing yourself. It's about learning to be with what already is, with openness, acceptance, and care. It's about coming home to yourself. So whether you're meditating because you're stressed, curious, healing, or simply wanting to live more intentionally, welcome. You've taken the first step, and every breath you bring to meditation is shaping your life in subtle yet powerful ways. Thank you for beginning this journey. Let's continue forward together. Chapter 2: How Meditation Changes Your Brain. For centuries, meditation was seen as a spiritual or philosophical practice, something practiced by monks in remote monasteries or seekers on a path of self-discovery. But in recent decades, thanks to advances in neuroscience and brain imaging technology, we've come to understand that meditation is not just a mental exercise or a calming ritual. It's a powerful tool that can physically rewire the brain. Yes, you read that correctly. Meditation doesn't just make you feel better emotionally, it changes the very structure and function of your brain over time. This is due to a concept known as neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, change, and form new neural connections throughout life. We used to believe that the adult brain was relatively fixed, that after childhood, the brain's structure remained largely unchanged, but modern science has shattered that myth. We now know that every thought, every habit, every repeated behavior has the potential to shape the brain, and few practices have been shown to impact the brain as profoundly and rapidly as meditation. Let's begin with one of the most groundbreaking studies in this field. In 2005, neuroscientist Dr. Sarah Lazar from Harvard Medical School conducted a study comparing the brains of long-term meditators with those of non-meditators. Using MRI scans, she found that experienced meditators had increased grey matter density in several critical regions of the brain, particularly in areas associated with attention, emotional regulation, memory, and self-awareness. Grey matter refers to the dense clusters of neurons responsible for processing information. When grey matter increases in certain parts of the brain, it means those regions are more active, more robust, and more capable of performing their functions. For example, increased grey matter in the hippocampus improves learning and memory, while increased grey matter in the anterior cingulate cortex enhances self-control and emotional stability. This finding alone changed the way scientists looked at meditation. No longer was it dismissed as a mystical or esoteric technique. Instead, it was recognized as a legitimate cognitive training tool, much like physical exercise strengthens the body. Another fascinating discovery came from research led by Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He studied the brains of Tibetan Buddhist monks who had spent tens of thousands of hours in meditation practice. What he found was astonishing. When these monks entered states of compassion and loving-kindness meditation, they exhibited extremely high levels of gamma wave activity, which is associated with heightened awareness, insight, and peak mental performance. Even more remarkable, these gamma waves didn't disappear once the monks stopped meditating. Their brains maintained elevated levels even during periods of rest. In other words, through years of dedicated practice, they had fundamentally transformed their baseline state of consciousness. This suggests that meditation doesn't only affect us during our sessions, it changes who we are, how we think, and how we respond to the world around us, even when we're not actively meditating. So, what exactly happens in the brain during meditation? Let's break it down into key areas affected by regular meditation practice. The prefrontal cortex. The seat of reason and control, the prefrontal cortex, located just behind the forehead, is responsible for executive functioning things like decision-making, planning, impulse control, and attention. Studies have shown that people who meditate regularly develop stronger activation and thicker cortical layers in this area. This means improved focus, better problem-solving skills, greater emotional regulation, and more resilience under stress. If you've ever struggled with distractions, procrastination, or impulsive reactions, strengthening your prefrontal cortex through meditation could be one of the most beneficial tools available. The amygdala. The brain's fear center. Deep inside the limbic system lies the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped structure responsible for triggering the fight or flight response. It plays a major role in fear, anxiety, and emotional reactivity. In stressful situations, the amygdala can become hyperactive, causing us to react before we have a chance to think. But research shows that meditation reduces amygdala activity over time. As practitioners continue to observe their thoughts and emotions without judgment, the brain begins to associate difficult experiences with less fear and distress. As a result, meditators often report feeling calmer in high-pressure moments, less reactive to criticism or setbacks, and more able to handle challenges with composure. The hippocampus, memory and emotional regulation. The hippocampus, crucial for memory formation and emotional regulation, also benefits from meditation. Chronic stress shrinks the hippocampus, impairing memory and increasing vulnerability to depression and anxiety. However, regular meditation appears to reverse some of these effects. One study published in Psychiatry Research, neuroimaging, found that participants who engaged in an 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program experienced significant increases in hippocampal volume. This suggests that meditation doesn't just protect against cognitive decline, it may actually help restore lost brain tissue. The default mode network. The wandering mind. Perhaps one of the most intriguing findings in meditation neuroscience relates to the default mode network, DMN, a set of interconnected brain regions that become active when the mind is not focused on the external world. This network is associated with mind-wandering, rumination, and self-referential thinking, all of which are strongly linked to depression and anxiety. Meditation disrupts this default mode of thinking. Through mindfulness and focused attention, practitioners learn to disengage from automatic thought patterns and bring their awareness back to the present moment. Over time, this leads to decreased activity in the DMN and reduced symptoms of stress-related conditions. It's no wonder so many people who meditate report fewer episodes of negative thinking and obsessive worrying. Their brains are literally being rewired to spend less time stuck in unhelpful mental loops. The insular body. Awareness and empathy. The insula helps us sense internal bodily states, heart rate, breathing, muscle tension, and is also involved in empathy and social connection. People who meditate regularly show increased thickness in the insula, suggesting an enhanced ability to tune into both their own bodies and the emotions of others. This might explain why meditators often describe having a deeper sense of connection with themselves and others. They're not just imagining it, their brains are showing more capacity for empathy and emotional intelligence. The temporoparietal junction. Compassion and perspective taking. The temporoparietal junction, TPJ, is the part of the brain responsible for perspective taking and understanding others' intentions, two essential components of compassion and altruism. Studies using fMRI scans have shown that loving-kindness meditation increases activity in this region, enhancing feelings of care and concern for others. This tells us that meditation isn't just about personal peace, it's also about cultivating kindness, compassion, and a sense of shared humanity. The corpus callosum integration between hemispheres. Long-term meditators also show increased connectivity in the corpus callosum, the bundle of nerve fibers connecting the left and right hemispheres of the brain. This enhanced integration allows for more balanced cognition, combining logic and creativity, analysis and intuition. It's yet another sign that meditation doesn't just improve individual brain regions, it strengthens the entire neural network, creating a more harmonious, integrated brain. Cortisol levels and the stress response. Beyond structural brain changes, meditation also impacts the body at a hormonal level. One of the most consistent biological effects observed in meditators is a decrease in cortisol, the primary stress hormone. When cortisol remains elevated over long periods, it can lead to inflammation, weakened immune function, weight gain, and even premature aging. But regular meditation lowers cortisol levels, helping the body return to a state of balance and calm. This is especially important in today's fast-paced, always connected world where chronic stress is rampant. Meditation offers a natural, accessible, and effective way to counteract the damaging effects of stress on both mind and body, telomere length, and aging. Even at the cellular level, meditation has shown promise in slowing the aging process. A growing body of research suggests that mindfulness practices can influence telomere length, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes that shorten as we age. Shorter telomeres are associated with aging, disease, and earlier mortality. But studies have found that individuals who engage in regular meditation and mindfulness practices tend to have longer telomeres than their non-meditating counterparts. While more research is needed, these early findings suggest that meditation may not only enhance quality of life, but also extend longevity. The ripple effect on daily life. Now you might be wondering, okay, this is all fascinating, but how does this translate into real-world benefits? The answer is simple. When your brain changes, so do you. Improved attention means better productivity and focus. Reduced amygdala activity means less anxiety and emotional volatility. Increased compassion and empathy mean deeper, more meaningful relationships. Enhanced memory and cognitive flexibility mean sharper thinking and better decision-making. In short, meditation trains your brain to function in ways that support well-being, resilience, and clarity, no matter what challenges life throws your way. And perhaps best of all, these changes don't require decades of practice or retreats in remote mountains. Even beginners can experience measurable shifts within weeks of starting a regular meditation routine. One study showed that participants who meditated for just 20 minutes a day over 4 days showed significant improvements in attention and working memory. Another found that just 8 weeks of mindfulness practice led to noticeable changes in brain structure related to learning, memory, and emotion regulation. This means that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to sit for hours. You don't need to silence your thoughts completely. All you need is consistency, a small daily commitment to returning your attention inward again and again. Because each time you do, you're reinforcing new neural pathways. You're strengthening your brain's capacity for calm, clarity, and compassion. You're literally building a new version of yourself, one breath at a time. Chapter 3, The Buddhist Roots of Meditation. To truly understand meditation, its purpose, its depth, and its transformative potential, we must look back to where it all began. While today meditation is practiced in many cultures and contexts, from secular mindfulness programs to yoga studios and corporate wellness initiatives, its roots are deeply embedded in ancient spiritual traditions, most notably Buddhism. For over 2,500 years, meditation has been at the heart of the Buddhist path, not as a means of escaping life or achieving mystical states, but as a way to awaken to reality, cultivate inner peace, and live with greater wisdom and compassion. The story of Buddhism begins with a man named Siddhartha Gautama, who would later become known as the Buddha. Born into royal privilege in what is now Nepal around the 5th century BCE, Siddhartha lived a life of luxury behind palace walls. But one day, he ventured beyond the palace and encountered suffering, old age, illness, and death. These experiences shook him deeply. He realized that no amount of wealth or comfort could shield anyone from the inevitable truths of life, impermanence, dissatisfaction, and mortality. Determined to find answers, he left his life of ease and embarked on a journey of spiritual exploration. He studied under great teachers, practiced extreme asceticism, and pushed himself to the limits of physical endurance, yet remained unsatisfied. It was only when he sat beneath a Bodhi tree in deep meditation that everything changed. Through focused awareness and insight, he awakened, attaining profound understanding of the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. That awakening made him the Buddha, which simply means the awakened one. From this moment arose the core teachings of Buddhism, a practical path, not based on blind faith but on direct experience, personal investigation, and the cultivation of wisdom and compassion. Central to this path was meditation, an essential tool for developing clarity, calm, and insight. Meditation in the Buddhist tradition is not a single practice, but a vast collection of techniques designed to help practitioners see the mind clearly, develop ethical qualities like patience and kindness, and ultimately realize the true nature of existence. At its foundation lie two complementary practices: shamatha, calm abiding, and vipassana, insight meditation. Shamatha, cultivating calm and stability. Shamatha is a practice of training the mind to remain steady and undisturbed. It's often translated as calm abiding or tranquility meditation. The goal of shamatha is to develop concentration, mental stability, and emotional balance. In shamatha practice, meditators typically focus on a single object, such as the breath, a visual image, or a mantra, and gently return to it each time the mind wanders. This repeated act of returning builds attentional strength. Over time, the mind becomes less reactive, more settled, and more present. This may sound simple, but it's deceptively powerful. Most people spend their lives caught in a constant stream of thoughts, planning, worrying, remembering, fantasizing. Through shamatha, we learn to step out of this automatic cycle and rest in stillness. But this doesn't mean suppressing thoughts or emotions. It means learning not to get carried away by them. We begin to relate to our minds differently, not as victims of our own thoughts, but as observers of them. Because of this, shamatha serves as a foundational practice, It prepares the mind for deeper insight by giving it the stability needed to look inward without distraction. Vipassana, seeing things as they are. Once the mind has developed a degree of calm through shamatha, the next stage naturally unfolds. Vipassana, often translated as insight meditation. Where shamatha develops concentration, vipassana develops wisdom. It's about seeing things as they truly are, not how we want them to be, not how we remember them, but exactly as they appear in the present moment. Vipassana invites us to observe the body, feelings, mind, and mental contents with clear awareness and non-attachment. Practitioners are taught to watch sensations, thoughts, and emotions arise and pass away, recognizing their impermanent, impersonal, and ever-changing nature. This realization that all experiences are temporary and not inherently me or mine loosens our grip on craving and aversion, the two main drivers of suffering according to Buddhist teachings. Through Vipassana, meditators begin to see patterns in their minds, how attachment leads to disappointment, how aversion increases tension, how clinging to identity causes conflict. With consistent practice, these insights become intuitive, transforming the way we relate to ourselves and the world. While some modern mindfulness programs draw heavily from Vipassana principles, the original context of this practice is deeply philosophical. It's not just about being present, it's about waking up to the truth of existence. Metta, the practice of loving kindness. Another significant form of meditation rooted in Buddhist tradition is metta, or loving kindness meditation. Unlike shamatha and vipassana, which primarily focus on awareness and insight, metta is explicitly aimed at cultivating positive emotional states, especially love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Metta practice involves directing well-wishing toward oneself and others. Traditionally, practitioners start by generating feelings of goodwill toward themselves, then extend those same wishes outward, first to loved ones, then to neutral individuals, then even to difficult people, and finally to all beings everywhere. This practice softens the heart and dissolves the artificial boundaries between self and other. Over time, it nurtures a sense of universal care and interconnectedness. Scientific studies have confirmed that regular metta practice increases positive emotions, reduces symptoms of depression, enhances social connectedness, and even improves physical health markers like heart rate variability. But again, the origin of metta lies in a desire to free the mind from negativity and expand the capacity for unconditional love, not just as an emotional state, but as a way of being. The Noble Eightfold Path. Meditation in context. It's important to understand meditation within the broader framework of Buddhist teachings, particularly the Noble Eightfold Path, which outlines the steps leading to liberation from suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path includes right view, understanding the nature of suffering and the path to freedom. Right intention, cultivating intentions of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Right speech, speaking truthfully, kindly, and beneficially. Right action, acting ethically and avoiding harm. Right livelihood, earning a living in ways that do not cause harm. Right effort, cultivating wholesome mental states and abandoning unwholesome ones. Right mindfulness, maintaining awareness of body, feelings, mind, and mental phenomena. Right concentration, developing deep states of meditative absorption. Meditation falls primarily under the last three steps: mindfulness, effort, and concentration, but it's supported by the entire path. Ethical conduct, right speech, action, and livelihood creates a stable foundation for mental development, while wisdom, right view, and intention guides the practice toward meaningful transformation. In this sense, meditation isn't seen as a standalone technique, but as part of a holistic approach to living wisely, ethically, and compassionately. The four foundations of mindfulness. One of the most influential meditation texts in the Buddhist canon is the Satipatthana Sutta, often translated as the Discourse on the Foundations of Mindfulness. In this teaching, the Buddha outlines four key areas of mindful observation. Mindfulness of the body. observing the body in all its postures and activities, including breathing, walking, eating, and sitting. Mindfulness of feelings, noting the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral quality of sensory experiences. Mindfulness of the mind, observing the current state of consciousness, whether it's greedy, angry, distracted, calm, etc. Mindfulness of mental objects, investigating the nature of thoughts, emotions, and the fundamental laws of existence, impermanence, suffering, and non-self. These foundations provide a comprehensive framework for meditation, guiding practitioners to develop full awareness of every aspect of experience. Modern mindfulness practices such as body scans, breath awareness, and open monitoring meditation are all directly influenced by these four foundations. What many people today refer to as mindfulness is essentially a simplified version of the Satipatthana teachings. Different schools, many approaches. Over time, Buddhism spread across Asia, adapting to different cultures and giving rise to various schools of thought, each with its own emphasis, philosophy, and meditation style. Some of the major Buddhist traditions include Theravada, predominant in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, and Cambodia. Theravada emphasizes monastic discipline, meditation, and the study of early Buddhist texts. Mahayana, found in China, Japan, Korea, and Vietnam, Mahayana introduces new concepts such as the Bodhisattva ideal, the aspiration to attain enlightenment not just for oneself, but for the benefit of all beings. Vajrayana, primarily practiced in Tibet, Mongolia, and parts of Bhutan, Vajrayana includes advanced visualization techniques, deity yoga, and esoteric rituals unique to Tantric Buddhism. Each school offers its own interpretation of meditation, some emphasizing analytical inquiry, others devotional practices, and still others direct realization of the nature of mind. Despite these differences, the core aim remains the same: to liberate the mind from confusion, suffering, and delusion. Meditation as a universal tool. Although Buddhism provides a rich philosophical and ethical context for meditation, you don't need to be a Buddhist to benefit from these practices. Many of the techniques have been adapted for secular use, integrated into psychology, healthcare, education, and even technology. Programs like mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, have helped millions reduce stress, manage chronic pain, and overcome depression, all thanks to the foundational insights discovered in Buddhist meditation. Even in neuroscience labs, meditation is studied using language and frameworks that reflect its Buddhist origins. Terms like awareness, non-judgment, present moment, and impermanence echo the vocabulary found in centuries-old Buddhist texts. So, whether you're drawn to meditation for scientific, psychological, spiritual, or personal growth reasons, you're engaging with a tradition that has stood the test of time, one that continues to evolve while staying true to its deepest purpose. A living legacy. Today, meditation continues to thrive both in traditional monastic settings and in mainstream culture. People from all walks of life are discovering its benefits, not just for relaxation but for transformation. And at the heart of it all lies the simple act of paying attention to the breath, to the body, to the mind, to the ever unfolding present moment. That's the legacy of the Buddha's teachings, not dogma, not rituals. Just a quiet invitation to sit down, breathe, and see what happens. And in that stillness, perhaps the greatest gift of all, awakening to yourself. Chapter 4. What is mindfulness? If meditation is the practice, mindfulness is the attitude that guides it. Mindfulness has become one of the most widely discussed and practiced aspects of meditation in modern times. It's everywhere now, from corporate boardrooms to school classrooms, from healthcare centers to elite sports teams. But what exactly is mindfulness? And more importantly, how can it help you live a calmer, clearer, and more fulfilling life? At its core, mindfulness is simple. It's about being fully present with whatever is happening in the moment, without judgment or resistance. It's not a new idea. In fact, it's an ancient concept rooted in Buddhist teachings, part of a much larger framework aimed at developing awareness, wisdom, and compassion. But in recent decades, mindfulness has been taken out of its traditional context and adapted into secular programs that are accessible to people of all backgrounds, beliefs, and lifestyles. Today, when we talk about mindfulness, we're usually referring to a specific kind of mental training, one that helps us become more aware of our thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, and environment, while cultivating a sense of openness, curiosity, and acceptance. Let's break this down further. The definition of mindfulness. One of the most commonly accepted definitions of mindfulness comes from Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn, founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction (MBSR) program at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. He defines mindfulness as the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experience moment by moment. This definition captures several key elements of mindfulness. Intentional attention. Mindfulness is not passive. It requires a deliberate effort to bring your awareness into the present. Present moment. Awareness. Instead of ruminating about the past or worrying about the future, mindfulness brings your focus back to what's happening right now. Non-judgmental observation. Rather than labeling experiences as good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, mindfulness encourages a neutral, accepting stance toward whatever arises. These three components form the foundation of all mindful practices, whether you're sitting in formal meditation, walking mindfully through a park, or simply eating a meal with full presence. Mindfulness versus meditation. Sometimes people confuse mindfulness with meditation, and while they are closely related, they aren't exactly the same thing. Think of meditation as the formal practice, the time you set aside each day to sit quietly, observe your breath, and train your attention. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is the quality of awareness that can be cultivated both during meditation and throughout daily life. In other words, meditation is one way to develop mindfulness, but mindfulness itself is not limited to meditation. You can be mindful while brushing your teeth, driving, listening to someone speak, or even typing on your phone. So, while meditation often involves stillness and silence, mindfulness is something you can carry with you wherever you go, like a lens through which you see the world with greater clarity, depth, and compassion. The science behind mindfulness. Thanks to decades of scientific research, much of it inspired by Buddhist contemplative practices, we now have a stronger understanding of how mindfulness affects the brain, body, and behavior. Neuroimaging studies show that regular mindfulness practice can lead to structural changes in the brain, including increased gray matter density in areas associated with learning, memory, emotion regulation, and self-awareness. Functional MRI scans reveal decreased activity in the brain's default mode network, the neural system responsible for mind-wandering and self-referential thinking, which is strongly linked to depression, anxiety, and chronic stress. From a psychological perspective, mindfulness helps reduce automatic reactivity, those habitual patterns of thought and emotion that often lead to unnecessary suffering. By increasing metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your own thoughts, mindfulness allows people to respond to situations rather than react impulsively. For example, imagine you receive harsh feedback at work. A person who isn't practicing mindfulness might immediately feel defensive or ashamed, spiraling into negative self-talk. Someone who has developed a mindful habit might pause, breathe, and choose a more skillful response, staying calm, curious, and solution-focused instead of emotionally overwhelmed. That small shift, pausing before reacting, is one of the most powerful gifts of mindfulness, the 4 pillars of mindfulness. As mentioned earlier, the Buddha outlined a systematic approach to mindfulness in the Satipatthana Sutta, also known as the Foundations of Mindfulness. This text describes 4 main areas of mindful observation: mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of mental objects. Each of these foundations offers a unique doorway into deeper awareness. 1. Mindfulness of the body. This begins with simple acts like noticing your posture, your breath, your movements, and physical sensations throughout the day. Practices such as body scan meditation involve mentally scanning your body from head to toe, observing areas of tension, warmth, numbness, or ease. By bringing attention to the body, we ground ourselves in the present and begin to notice how emotional states manifest physically. For instance, anxiety might show up as tightness in the chest, while joy may feel like lightness in the limbs. This kind of body-based awareness is especially helpful for people who tend to get lost in their thoughts or disconnected from their physical experience. 2. Mindfulness of feelings. Here, feelings don't refer to emotions like happiness or sadness, but to the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral tone of any given experience. For example, the taste of chocolate might be pleasant, stubbing your toe unpleasant, and waiting in line neutral. These are basic affective qualities that color every sensory encounter: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thought. By observing these feelings without getting swept away by them, we learn to relate differently to pleasure and pain. We begin to see that even the most intense discomfort is temporary, and that clinging too tightly to pleasant experiences often leads to disappointment when they inevitably change. This insight fosters emotional resilience and reduces our tendency to seek constant stimulation or avoid uncomfortable moments. 3. Mindfulness of the mind. This refers to becoming aware of your current mental state, whether the mind is calm or restless, clear or cloudy, open or contracted. Instead of identifying completely with your thoughts, "I'm angry," mindfulness helps you see them as passing events in the mind. Anger is arising. This subtle shift in perspective creates space between who you are and what you're experiencing, allowing for greater freedom and choice in how you respond to internal states. You might notice, for instance, that when the mind is distracted or agitated, you tend to make impulsive decisions. With mindfulness, you can catch yourself early and make a conscious choice to step back, breathe, and reset. 4. Mindfulness of mental objects. This final foundation dives deep into the nature of reality, exploring concepts like impermanence, dissatisfaction, and non-self. It includes observing the 5 hindrances: desire, aversion, sloth, restlessness, doubt, the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, consciousness, and the 12 links of dependent origination, all of which provide insight into how suffering arises and how liberation can be achieved. While this aspect is more philosophical and advanced, even beginner-level practitioners can benefit by simply observing how their thoughts shape their reality, and how letting go of rigid perspectives can lead to greater peace. Everyday applications of mindfulness. Now let's explore some practical ways to bring mindfulness into your everyday life, not just during meditation, but in everything you do. Mindful breathing. Your breath is always with you. It's the perfect anchor for mindfulness. Whether you're waiting in traffic, at your desk, or before sleep, simply take a few conscious breaths. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. Feel the rise and fall of your chest or belly. That's mindfulness in action. Mindful eating. Most of us eat quickly and mindlessly, consuming meals without really tasting them. Try slowing down. Notice the colors, textures, and flavors of your food. Chew slowly, appreciate each bite. Not only does this enhance enjoyment, but it also supports better digestion and healthier eating habits. Mindful walking. Walking is a natural movement we do all the time, so why not turn it into a practice? Walk slowly. Feel the contact of your feet with the ground. Listen to the sounds around you. Let each step be a return to the present moment. Even a short, mindful walk can refresh your mind and body. Mindful listening. How often do you listen to someone speak while already thinking about what you want to say next? True listening is a rare and precious gift. Practice giving your full attention to the speaker, not just to their words. but to their tone, their pauses, their energy. Be silent, be present, be curious. Mindful technology. Use. We spend so much time glued to screens, scrolling, swiping, tapping. Try introducing moments of awareness. Before opening an app, take a breath. After reading a message, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this out of habit or intention? Mindful technology use helps reduce digital overwhelm and reclaim your attention. The benefits of mindfulness. Because mindfulness touches so many aspects of life, its benefits are wide-ranging and deeply personal. Some of the most well-documented benefits include reduced stress and anxiety, while improved focus and concentration, better emotional regulation, enhanced self-awareness, stronger relationships, greater resilience under pressure, improved sleep quality, lower blood pressure, increased empathy and compassion, a greater sense of overall well-being. But beyond measurable outcomes, mindfulness offers something even more valuable, a deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. It helps you savor life's simple joys, stay grounded in difficult moments, and find peace amidst the chaos. How to begin a mindfulness practice. Starting a mindfulness practice doesn't require special equipment or years of study. All you need is a willingness to slow down and pay attention. Here are a few simple steps to begin. 1. Set a regular time. Choose a consistent time each day, perhaps first thing in the morning, during lunch or before bed. Even 5 minutes can make a difference. 2. Find a quiet space. Create a dedicated area where you won't be disturbed, even if it's just a corner of your room with a cushion or chair. 3. Start with the breath. Sit comfortably, close your eyes and bring your attention to the breath. Follow each inhale and exhale without trying to change anything. 4. Gently return. When distracted, when your mind wanders, and it will, gently bring it back to the breath. No need to struggle or judge yourself. Just come back again and again. 5. Expand into daily life. Once you've established a sitting practice, begin applying mindfulness to everyday activities. Eat mindfully, walk mindfully, listen mindfully. Let mindfulness become your companion throughout the day. Remember, there is no perfect way to practice mindfulness. Every moment you bring your attention back to the present is a success. The journey continues. As you continue your journey with mindfulness, you'll likely discover that it's not a destination, it's a way of living, one that brings richness to ordinary moments, clarity to chaotic days, and peace to turbulent minds. And best of all, it's always available to you no matter where you are, what you're doing, or how busy your life may seem. So take a breath, come home to the present, and let mindfulness guide your way forward. Chapter 5. Breaking the cycle of negative thinking. Have you ever noticed how your mind can spiral into a loop of self-criticism, worry, or fear? One moment you're fine, and the next you're replaying a past mistake, imagining worst-case scenarios, or questioning your abilities. These thoughts can feel so real, so urgent, that they pull you out of the present and drop you into an emotional storm of your own making. Negative thinking is one of the most common human experiences and one of the most painful. It affects our relationships, our work, our health, and our sense of self-worth. But what if we could learn to step out of these cycles? What if we could break free from the mental loops that keep us stuck in anxiety, depression, and self-doubt? That's where meditation and mindfulness come in. Meditation doesn't erase difficult emotions or magically eliminate negative thoughts, but it does give you the tools to relate differently to them. It teaches you how to step back, observe your thoughts with clarity, and choose whether or not to engage with them. In doing so, it helps you break the cycle of automatic, unhelpful thinking patterns that so often dominate our minds. This chapter will explore how negative thinking develops, why it feels so powerful, and how meditation offers a path to freedom by transforming your relationship with your thoughts. The nature of negative thinking. Let's start by understanding what negative thinking actually is. Negative thinking isn't just about having a bad thought now. And then it's about getting caught in repetitive, distressing, and often inaccurate thought patterns that shape how we see ourselves, others, and the world. These patterns can take many forms. Self-criticism, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up. Catastrophizing, this small mistake means I've ruined everything. Overgeneralization, one rejection means nobody likes me. Mind reading, they must think I'm stupid. Personalization, everything that goes wrong is my fault. These are just a few examples of what cognitive behavioral therapists call cognitive distortions, exaggerated or irrational thought patterns that reinforce feelings of helplessness, shame, or anxiety. What makes these thoughts so dangerous isn't necessarily their content, it's the way we treat them. We believe them without question. We get lost in them. We act on them. And over time, this creates habits of mind that become deeply ingrained. In psychology, this is known as rumination, the tendency to repeatedly dwell on negative thoughts or experiences. Rumination fuels depression and anxiety, keeping people trapped in cycles of suffering. So why do we ruminate in the first place? Why the mind gets stuck in negative loops? Our brains have evolved to prioritize threats, a survival mechanism that once helped us avoid danger in ancestral environments. This is called the negativity bias, and it means our minds naturally pay more attention to negative stimuli than positive ones. For example, studies show that people remember criticism more vividly than praise. A single harsh comment can overshadow a dozen compliments. This was useful when we needed to detect predators or social rejection, but in modern life it often leads to unnecessary suffering. Another reason we get stuck in negative thinking is because of the brain's habit-forming nature. When certain neural pathways are activated repeatedly, especially those linked to fear, anger, or sadness, they become stronger and easier to trigger over time. Think of it like walking through tall grass. At first, every step takes effort, but the more times you walk the same path, the clearer and smoother it becomes. Eventually, your feet follow it automatically, even if there are better routes available. The same thing happens with thought patterns. If you've been criticizing yourself for years, that inner critic becomes a well-worn mental pathway. It activates easily without conscious control, pulling you into familiar states of insecurity, doubt, and despair. And because these thoughts seem so personal, so closely tied to who we believe ourselves to be, we often don't question them. We assume they reflect objective truth rather than subjective interpretation. But here's the good news. Meditation changes all of this. How meditation helps you step out of negative thought loops. Meditation doesn't stop thoughts from arising. It changes your relationship to them. Instead of being swept away by a wave of negativity, you begin to notice the wave itself. You start to see thoughts not as facts, but as passing events in the mind, like clouds drifting across the sky. This shift may sound subtle, but it's incredibly powerful. It gives you space between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose how you want to engage with your inner experience. Here's how it works. 1. Increased awareness. Most of the time, we're unaware of our thoughts until they've already shaped our emotions and behaviors. Meditation trains you to notice your mental activity earlier, sometimes even before it triggers a strong reaction. You might catch yourself thinking, "I'm going to fail," and recognize it as a familiar pattern rather than an objective reality. That awareness alone begins to weaken its grip. 2. Non-judgmental observation. Mindfulness encourages you to observe your thoughts without labeling them as good or bad. Instead of fighting negative thoughts or trying to push them away, you simply acknowledge them and let them pass. This reduces resistance, which paradoxically decreases their power over you. As psychologist Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." 3. Emotional distance. With consistent practice, you develop a kind of inner observer, a part of you that watches your thoughts without getting entangled in them. This observer sees patterns clearly, offering perspective and compassion. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," you might say, anxiety is arising. Instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," you notice a critical voice has appeared again. This subtle shift keeps you from identifying too strongly with your thoughts, reducing their emotional impact. 4. Reduced reactivity. Neuroscience shows that meditation reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, while strengthening connections to the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. This means that over time, you'll react less intensely to stressful or negative thoughts. You'll recover faster from emotional disturbances and respond more skillfully to challenges. 5. Breaking mental habits. Each time you return your attention to the breath during meditation, you're reinforcing a new habit, one of presence instead of distraction, calm instead of reactivity, awareness instead of automaticity. Eventually, these new neural pathways become stronger than the old, worn-out patterns of negativity. You begin to default to peace instead of panic, curiosity instead of judgment, acceptance instead of resistance. Real-life examples of transformation. Many people report profound shifts in their mental health after starting a meditation practice, particularly those who struggle with chronic anxiety, depression, or obsessive thinking. Take Sarah, a marketing executive who had battled self-doubt for most of her life. She would constantly replay conversations in her head, worrying endlessly about what others thought of her. She'd spend hours analyzing every interaction, convinced she had somehow come off as awkward or unlikable. After beginning a daily meditation routine, she started noticing these thought patterns earlier, sometimes even as they began to stir. She learned to label them gently. There's that old story again. Over time, she stopped believing them so completely. She still had moments of self-doubt, but they no longer defined her or dictated her actions. Or consider James, a teacher who struggled with catastrophic thinking. He used to imagine the worst-case scenario in nearly every situation: losing his job, failing his students, being judged harshly by colleagues. His mind was a constant engine of fear. Through regular mindfulness practice, he began to see that these thoughts were just stories, not predictions, not truths. Sometimes he would pause mid-thought and ask himself, "Is this happening right now?" More often than not, the answer was no. With that simple question, he grounded himself in the present and reduced his mental suffering. These transformations aren't magic. They're the natural result of training the mind to see clearly and respond wisely. Tools that support the process. While meditation is a foundational tool for breaking negative thinking cycles, there are also complementary practices that enhance its effects. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts can be a powerful way to externalize and examine them. Try writing a stream of consciousness journal entry about a recurring negative belief, then read it back and ask yourself, is this true? What evidence supports it? What contradicts it? This process helps reduce the emotional charge around thoughts and reveals inconsistencies or exaggerations. Cognitive restructuring. This technique, borrowed from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, involves identifying distorted thoughts and replacing them with more balanced perspectives. For example, old thought, "I never do anything right." New thought, "Sometimes I make mistakes, but I also do many things well." It may sound simple, but over time, these small reframes accumulate and change your internal narrative. Loving kindness meditation. As we explored in previous chapters, metta meditation cultivates compassion toward oneself and others. When practiced regularly, it softens the harsh inner critic and replaces self-judgment with kindness. Try directing loving kindness toward the part of you that struggles with negativity. Silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy," "May I be peaceful," "May I accept myself exactly as I am." This practice rewires the brain to respond to difficulty with care instead of condemnation. Body scans and sensory grounding. Negative thoughts often manifest in the body, tightness in the chest, heaviness in the stomach, tension in the jaw. By bringing mindful attention to physical sensations, you create a bridge between thought and body, helping you disengage from the mental loop. Next time you find yourself spiraling, try focusing on your feet touching the ground or the rise and fall of your breath. Physical presence grounds the mind and interrupts the cycle. Embracing imperfection and self-compassion. Perhaps the most important insight meditation offers is this: you are not your thoughts. Thoughts come and go. Some are helpful, some are harmful. All of them are temporary. You don't have to believe every thought that arises, and you certainly don't have to identify with the negative ones. This realization brings immense freedom. You begin to see that much of your suffering comes not from external circumstances, but from how you interpret and react to them. And with that awareness comes the power to choose differently. So, if you catch yourself falling into negative thinking today, notice it, label it gently, bring your attention back to your breath, offer yourself kindness. Then, breathe again and again, because each moment you return is a moment of awakening. And with every breath, you move one step closer to peace. Chapter 6. Compassion and Loving Kindness. Meditation. Loving kindness practice. When we talk about meditation, many people immediately think of calm, stillness, focus. And those are all important aspects, but sometimes overlooked in these discussions is another vital component of a well-rounded meditation practice: compassion. Meditation isn't only a tool for quieting the mind or gaining insight into ourselves, it's also a powerful way to open our hearts. One of the most transformative practices in this regard is loving kindness meditation, known in Pali as metta bhavana. Rooted deeply in Buddhist tradition, metta is more than just a feel-good exercise. It is a structured method for cultivating unconditional love, kindness, and goodwill toward ourselves, others, and ultimately, all living beings. At its core, loving kindness meditation helps us develop a new relationship with ourselves and the world around us, one based not on judgment, comparison, or fear, but on acceptance, warmth, and connection. What is compassion? Before we dive into the details of loving kindness meditation, let's take a moment to understand what compassion truly means. Compassion comes from the Latin word compati, which literally translates to suffer with. It is the ability to recognize suffering in oneself and others, and to respond to that suffering with care, concern, and desire to help alleviate it. It's different from sympathy, which is feeling sorry for someone. It's also different from empathy, which is simply understanding how someone feels. Compassion goes a step further. It includes the wish to act in ways that reduce suffering. And while compassion often starts with others, it must first begin with ourselves. If we can't offer kindness to ourselves when we struggle, it becomes much harder to extend it outward. This is where loving kindness meditation plays a crucial role, because it teaches us how to generate and direct compassion intentionally, starting within and expanding outward. The science of compassion. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what ancient meditative traditions have long taught. Compassion is not just a nice idea, it's a skill that can be trained and strengthened through practice. Studies using brain imaging technology have found that practicing loving-kindness meditation increases activity in regions associated with empathy, emotional regulation, and positive emotions such as the insular anterior cingulate cortex and temporoparietal junction. One notable study published in Psychological Science showed that participants who engaged in even short-term loving-kindness meditation reported greater feelings of social connectedness and positivity towards strangers. Another study at Emory University found that regular practice could increase prosocial behavior, meaning people were more likely to help others after developing their capacity for compassion. These findings suggest that compassion isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something that grows with attention, intention, and practice. Just like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Why? We need compassion. Now, more than ever. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, it's easy to feel isolated, overwhelmed, or disconnected. Social media comparisons, economic pressures, political polarization, and global crises contribute to a sense of separateness both from others and from ourselves. We live in a culture that often glorifies productivity over presence, achievement over self-care, and individualism over community. This creates fertile ground for burnout, anxiety, and loneliness. That's why compassion, especially directed inward, is so essential. Without compassion, we become harsher on ourselves, demanding perfection, criticizing mistakes, and ignoring our own needs. Without compassion, we see others through filters of judgment, assumption, and competition. But with compassion, we soften, we forgive, we connect, we heal. And loving kindness meditation gives us a practical, accessible way to cultivate that inner softness and outer warmth. How loving kindness meditation works. Unlike mindfulness meditation, which primarily develops awareness and clarity, loving kindness meditation focuses on generating specific emotional states, namely love, joy, compassion, and equanimity. The traditional practice involves repeating phrases either silently or aloud that express wishes for happiness, safety, health, and ease. These intentions are directed first toward oneself, then gradually expanded outward to include loved ones, neutral people, difficult individuals, and eventually all beings everywhere. Let's break down each stage in detail. Stage 1. Offering love to yourself. Many people find this stage surprisingly challenging, especially those who struggle with self-criticism or low self-worth. But self-compassion is the foundation upon which all other compassion is built. If you can't offer yourself kindness when you're struggling, how can you expect to do so for others? Start by sitting comfortably, closing your eyes and bringing your attention to your heart space. Gently repeat the following phrases, either silently or softly spoken. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. You might also personalize the phrases to better suit your current emotional state. May I be gentle with myself. May I accept myself exactly as I am. May I find peace within. As you repeat these words, try to feel them, not just recite them. Let them sink into your body and mind. Allow yourself to receive these blessings. You may notice resistance, a voice that says, I don't deserve this, or this feels selfish. When that happens, acknowledge the thought without engaging, then gently return to the phrases. This is part of the process. Compassion begins with recognizing our internal barriers and choosing to move beyond them. Stage 2. Extending love to someone you care about. Now, bring to mind someone you love, a parent, partner, child, close friend, or pet. Visualize them clearly if possible, or simply hold their presence in your mind. Repeat the same phrases, directing them toward this person. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Feel the warmth of your affection as you send these wishes. You might imagine light flowing from your heart toward theirs, or visualize them smiling and at peace. Notice how natural this feels. Most of us easily generate love for people we care about. This stage reminds us of that innate capacity. Stage 3. Wishing well for a neutral person. Now shift your focus to someone you neither particularly like nor dislike, perhaps a co-worker, neighbor, or stranger you see regularly. Someone you pass by without giving much thought to. This stage challenges us to expand our circle of concern beyond those we already love. Repeat the same phrases. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. There's no need to force emotion, just allow the possibility of goodwill to exist. Recognize that this person, like you, wants to be happy and free from suffering. This simple shift, seeing a stranger as deserving of happiness, nurtures a sense of universal care. Stage 4. Sending love to a difficult person. This is often the most challenging stage of loving-kindness meditation, but also the most transformative. Bring to mind someone you find difficult, perhaps someone who has hurt you, challenged you, or triggered strong emotions in you. This person might evoke feelings of anger, resentment, or frustration. That's okay. Acknowledge whatever arises without pushing it away. Then, slowly and sincerely, repeat the phrases, "May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease." You might not feel warm feelings toward them, and that's perfectly normal. This stage is not about condoning harmful actions or minimizing pain. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of negative emotions. By offering loving kindness to someone you struggle with, you begin to loosen the grip of bitterness and reactivity. You start to see that even those who cause harm are often driven by their own wounds and suffering. This doesn't mean you have to like them, but it allows you to release the emotional burden they carry in your mind. Stage 5. Extending love to all beings everywhere. Finally, broaden your awareness to include all living beings near and far, seen and unseen. Visualize waves of kindness radiating out from your heart, reaching every corner of the world. Repeat the phrases one last time, now in a universal form. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings live with ease. You can mentally travel across your city, your country, your planet, imagining countless lives, each desiring happiness, each avoiding suffering. This final stage cultivates a deep sense of interconnectedness, reminding us that beneath all differences, we share the same fundamental longing for peace and well-being. The benefits of loving kindness. Meditation. Regularly practicing loving kindness meditation brings a wide range of psychological, emotional, and relational benefits. Here are just a few. Increased positive emotions. Studies show that even short-term metta practice boosts feelings of joy, gratitude, hope, and contentment. Improved relationships. Practicing compassion improves empathy and reduces conflict in personal and professional relationships. Greater emotional resilience. By softening self-criticism and increasing self-love, metta builds inner strength and stability, reduced anxiety and depression. Research has shown that metta is effective in reducing symptoms of depression and generalized anxiety disorder. Enhanced social connection. People who engage in loving kindness meditation report feeling more connected to others, including strangers. Decreased bias and prejudice. Surprisingly, studies have found that metta practice reduces implicit bias by encouraging perspective-taking and humanizing others. On a deeper level, loving kindness meditation helps dissolve the illusion of separation. It reminds us that we are all navigating life with its joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures. No one is immune to difficulty. No one is unworthy of love. And when we realize this, something shifts inside us. Making loving kindness meditation a daily habit. Like any meditation practice, consistency is key. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day of loving kindness meditation can begin to shift your mindset and emotional patterns over time. Here are some tips to support your practice. Choose a regular time. Whether it's first thing in the morning, during a work break, or before bed, make space for metta in your daily routine. Use phrases that resonate with you. While traditional phrases are helpful, feel free to adapt them to fit your personality and needs. Combine with other practices. Pair metta with breath awareness or mindful breathing to create a balanced meditation session. Be patient with yourself. It's normal to experience resistance or discomfort, especially when working with difficult emotions. Keep returning with kindness. Apply it. Off the cushion, bring loving kindness into your daily life by speaking kindly to yourself, offering small acts of kindness, or simply holding a compassionate attitude toward others. Remember, there is no perfect way to practice loving-kindness meditation. Every moment you spend generating compassion, even if it feels awkward or forced at first, is making a difference, because compassion is not a destination, it's a direction. And with every phrase you say, every breath you take, you're moving closer to a kinder, softer, more connected version of yourself. So go gently, speak kindly, and let your heart grow. Because in a world that often feels cold, your loving kindness is a gift to yourself and to everyone around you. Chapter 7. Making meditation a daily habit. Meditating once or twice is like going to the gym. Once it might feel good in the moment, but the real transformation happens with consistency. The power of meditation lies not in grand sessions lasting hours on end, but in regular, steady practice. Like watering a plant every day, small repeated efforts over time foster deep growth, not just in your mind and body, but in the way you relate to life itself. But let's be honest, making meditation a daily habit isn't always easy. In our fast-moving, hyper-connected world, finding even 5 minutes to sit quietly can feel like a luxury. Between work, family responsibilities, social obligations, digital distractions, and the constant pull of external demands, carving out space for stillness often feels secondary, if not impossible. And yet, this is exactly why meditation matters so much today. Because when everything else pulls us outward, meditation draws us inward, offering a refuge from overwhelm, a sanctuary of calm, and a chance to reconnect with what truly matters. So, how do we make meditation a daily habit, one that sticks, grows, and becomes second nature? Let's explore the art and science of building a sustainable meditation practice step by step, breath by breath. Why consistency matters more than duration. One of the most common misconceptions about meditation is that you need long sessions to see benefits, but research consistently shows that short, regular practices are far more effective than occasional marathon sessions. Think of meditation like exercise. If you go to the gym once a month, you won't see results, but if you commit to just 15 minutes a day over time, you'll build strength, endurance, and resilience. The same applies to the mind. Even 5 minutes of daily meditation helps train attention, reduce stress, and improve emotional regulation. It builds mental muscle, strengthening your ability to stay grounded, centered, and aware throughout the day. So instead of focusing on how long you meditate, focus on showing up again and again. This is the foundation of any successful habit: consistency. The science of habit formation. Habits are formed through repetition. Every time you perform an action in a specific context, your brain creates new neural pathways. Over time, those pathways become stronger until the action becomes automatic. Neuroscientists call this process habit formation, and it follows a simple loop. Cue, trigger, a signal that tells your brain to initiate a behavior. Routine. The action itself, in this case, sitting down to meditate. Reward, the positive feeling or benefit you get from the behavior. To build a meditation habit, you want to create a powerful cue and associate it with a rewarding experience. For example, you wake up each morning, that's your cue. You sit down to meditate, that's your routine. You feel calmer, clearer, and more present, that's your reward. Repeat this enough times and your brain will begin to crave the reward, making meditation less of a chore and more of a natural part of your day. Designing your ideal meditation routine. One size does not fit all when it comes to meditation. What works for one person may not work for another. The key is to design a routine that fits your lifestyle, preferences, and energy levels. Here are some elements to consider as you build your daily meditation habit. 1. Choose a time that works for you. There's no single best time to meditate, only the best time for you. Some people prefer starting their day with meditation to set a calm, grounded tone. Others find it helpful to meditate during lunch breaks or before bed to unwind and reset. Ask yourself, when do I feel most alert? When am I least likely to be interrupted? When would I benefit most from a moment of stillness? Once you choose a time, stick with it at least for a few weeks to give your brain a chance to form the habit. 2. Create a dedicated space. Having a consistent place to meditate reinforces the habit. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just a quiet corner, a cushion, or a chair where you can sit uninterrupted. Your environment sends signals to your brain, just like how walking into a gym cues your body to prepare for movement. Walking into your meditation space cues your mind to shift into awareness. Even if you live in a small space or share a home, designate a spot, even if it's just a mat and a candle. This becomes your anchor. 3. Start small and be realistic. Trying to force yourself into an hour-long session when you've never meditated before is like trying to run a marathon without training. You're setting yourself up for frustration. Start with something manageable, even 3, 5, or 10 minutes a day. As the habit strengthens, you can gradually increase the time. But resist the urge to push too hard too soon. Remember, the goal is to build momentum, not perfection. 4. Use supportive tools. Technology can be both a distraction and a support. Use it wisely. There are many apps, timers, and guided meditations that can help you stay consistent. Popular options include Headspace, Calm, Insight, Timer, Waking Up, 10% Happier. These tools offer structured programs, reminders, and variety to keep your practice engaging. You can also use a simple timer or alarm on your phone. Sometimes simplicity is best. 5. Pair meditation with other habits. One of the most effective ways to build a new habit is to stack it onto an existing one. For example, after brushing your teeth in the morning, sit for 5 minutes of meditation. Before making your coffee, take a moment to breathe and center yourself. After dinner, close your eyes and do a brief body scan. This technique, known as habit stacking, makes it easier to remember and follow through. 6. Track your progress. Tracking increases accountability. You don't need a complicated system, just a simple check mark on a calendar, a sticker chart, or a note in your journal. Seeing your streak grow over time can be incredibly motivating. And if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up, just start again the next day. The habit is built not through flawless execution, but through resilient return. Overcoming common obstacles. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why so many people struggle to maintain a daily meditation habit. Here are some of the most common challenges and practical ways to overcome them. 1. I don't have time. This is by far the most frequent excuse and the most understandable. But ask yourself, do you really not have time, or is it simply a matter of priorities? Many people who say they don't have time for meditation still spend hours scrolling on their phones, watching TV, or commuting. The truth is, there's always time, we just choose where to put our attention. Try reframing meditation not as something extra you have to do, but as a way to reclaim control over your time and energy. 5 minutes of presence is better than 5 hours of distraction. 2. I can't quiet my mind. Another common concern. My mind won't stop thinking. Good, that means you're human. The point of meditation is not to silence your thoughts, it's to develop a healthier relationship with them. Instead of getting lost in them, you learn to observe them without being carried away. Every time you notice your mind wandering and gently bring it back to the breath, you're building mindfulness muscle. So don't worry if your thoughts are loud, just keep coming back. Again and again, that's the practice. 3. It feels boring or uncomfortable. Sometimes meditation can feel boring, even frustrating, especially at first. But boredom is not failure, it's feedback. It reveals how used we are to constant stimulation. Our minds crave entertainment, novelty, and distraction. Sitting quietly goes against that conditioning, which is why it feels uncomfortable at first. But like physical exercise, discomfort is part of the process, and with time you begin to appreciate the subtle richness of silence, stillness, and presence. If you find formal sitting meditation too challenging, try integrating mindfulness into movement walking meditation, mindful stretching, or even mindful dishwashing. These practices can act as gateways to deeper stillness. 4. I forget to meditate. Out of sight, out of mind, especially when you're busy. Set reminders. Put a sticky note on your mirror. Set an alarm on your phone. Link your practice to another habit, like waking up or drinking tea. The more consistent your trigger, the more likely you are to remember. Also know that forgetting is part of the journey. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're learning. Just return, without judgment. 5. I don't feel any benefits. Sometimes progress is slow, sometimes it's invisible. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. Like a tree growing roots underground before it sprouts leaves, meditation builds internal strength before noticeable change appears on the surface. Keep going, trust the process. Over time, you'll begin to notice subtle shifts, more patience, less reactivity, greater self-awareness, improved sleep, and a deeper sense of peace. These aren't imaginary effects. They're neurological, physiological, and psychological changes rooted in science. How to stay motivated in the long run. Building a daily meditation habit requires more than discipline. It needs motivation. Here are some strategies to keep your practice alive. Reflect on your why. Why did you start meditating in the first place? Was it to reduce stress, improve focus, sleep better, connect with yourself more deeply? Reconnecting with your original intention can reignite your commitment when motivation dips. Write down your reasons and read them regularly. Let them remind you of the value this practice brings to your life. Celebrate small wins. Progress in meditation is often gradual and cumulative. That's why it's important to celebrate small milestones. Did you meditate for a full week? Congratulations! Did you notice a moment of calm during a stressful situation? That's a win. Did you return to the cushion after missing a day? Reward yourself. Positive reinforcement keeps motivation strong. Join a community. Practicing in isolation can be tough. That's why joining a meditation group, attending retreats, or listening to guided sessions can provide valuable support. Knowing that others are on the same path encourages consistency and offers inspiration. Explore new styles. Variety keeps things interesting. Try different types of meditation, loving kindness, body scan, visualization, mantra meditation, sound-based practices. Exploring multiple forms keeps your practice dynamic and prevents it from becoming stale. Keep learning. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend workshops. Deepening your understanding of meditation keeps it meaningful and engaging. The more you learn, the more inspired you become to continue. Final thoughts. Meditation is a way of being. At its heart, meditation is not just a daily habit. It's a way of living. It's not something you do for a few minutes a day and then forget about. It's a quality of awareness, a lens through which you engage with the world. And while forming the habit takes time, effort, and patience, the rewards are profound. Each session is a step toward greater clarity, compassion, and connection. Each breath is a return to the present moment, the only place where life unfolds. So whether you meditate for 1 minute or 60, whether you feel calm or restless, whether you stay consistent for days or months, just keep showing up. Because every moment you sit is a moment of awakening. And every breath you bring to meditation is shaping your life gently, steadily, deeply. Chapter 8. Meditation for Stress and Anxiety. In today's world, stress and anxiety have become almost as common as breathing. They're not just occasional visitors anymore for many people. They've moved in permanently. Whether it's work pressure, relationship challenges, financial concerns, health worries, or the constant flood of information from digital life, we are living under a near constant stream of demands that can easily overwhelm our nervous system. And when left unchecked, this chronic activation of our body's threat response doesn't just make us feel uneasy, it impacts our sleep, digestion, immune system, heart health, decision-making, relationships, and overall quality of life. But what if you had an internal reset button, a way to step back, calm your nervous system, and regain control without medication, without escape, without needing external conditions to change? That reset button is meditation. Meditation has proven to be one of the most effective tools for reducing stress and managing anxiety, not by eliminating the causes of stress, but by changing how we relate to it. It gives us the space to pause, breathe, observe, and respond with clarity instead of reactivity. Let's dive deep into how meditation works on a physiological level, how it affects the brain and body during moments of stress, and how you can use specific techniques to bring yourself back into balance whenever life feels overwhelming, understanding stress and anxiety. Before we explore how meditation helps, let's first understand what stress and anxiety actually are and why we experience them in the first place. Stress is the body's natural response to perceived threats or challenges. It's a survival mechanism wired into our biology through evolution, commonly known as the fight or flight response. When the brain senses danger, whether real or imagined, it triggers a cascade of hormonal and neurological changes designed to help us survive. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, activates, sending signals to release adrenaline and cortisol, increasing heart rate, sharpening focus, and preparing the body to either run away or stand and fight. This response was incredibly useful in ancestral times when facing predators or physical dangers. But in modern life, our brains often activate the same response to non-life-threatening situations like deadlines and traffic arguments, or even negative thoughts about ourselves. Anxiety, on the other hand, is more than just momentary stress. It's a persistent state of worry, unease, or anticipation about future events, often accompanied by physical symptoms like rapid heartbeat, muscle tension, restlessness, and difficulty concentrating. While acute stress can be motivating, chronic stress and generalized anxiety can be debilitating, and when the body stays in a heightened state of alert for too long, it leads to exhaustion, burnout, and even disease. This is where meditation comes in, not as a quick fix, but as a powerful tool to train the brain and body to return to balance faster and more effectively. How meditation calms the nervous system. One of the most well-documented effects of meditation is its ability to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural relaxation response. Unlike the sympathetic nervous system, which mobilizes energy for action, the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for rest, recovery, and restoration. It lowers heart rate, slows breathing, reduces blood pressure, and allows the body to heal and regenerate. Through regular meditation practice, especially mindfulness-based techniques, we learn how to switch out of fight or flight mode and into a calmer, more regulated state. Here's how this works on a deeper level. 1. Reducing amygdala activity. The amygdala is the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats and triggering fear responses. Studies using functional MRI scans have shown that people who meditate regularly show decreased activity in the amygdala, meaning their brains react less intensely to stressful stimuli. They still experience stress, but they don't get overwhelmed by it. Their emotional reactions are less intense and shorter in duration. 2. Strengthening prefrontal cortex. Control, the prefrontal cortex, located just behind the forehead, is responsible for executive functions like decision-making, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Meditation strengthens the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, allowing higher-order reasoning to override automatic fear responses. This means meditators are better able to pause before reacting, assess situations more clearly, and choose responses that align with their values rather than being controlled by fear. 3. Lowering cortisol levels. Cortisol is known as the primary stress hormone. High levels of cortisol over time are associated with increased inflammation, weight gain, weakened immunity, and mental health issues. Research shows that consistent meditation, particularly mindfulness and loving-kindness practices, significantly reduce cortisol levels, helping the body recover from stress more quickly. 4. Improving heart rate variability, HRV. Heart rate variability refers to the variation in time between each heartbeat. Higher HRV indicates a healthier, more adaptable nervous system, one that can handle stress and bounce back quickly. Studies show that people who meditate regularly tend to have higher HRV, suggesting greater emotional resilience and better regulation of the autonomic nervous system. 5. Interrupting ruminative thinking. A major contributor to anxiety is repetitive thinking, ruminating over past mistakes, worrying about potential future problems, or catastrophizing minor setbacks. Meditation trains the mind to stay anchored in the present moment, interrupting those unhelpful thought loops before they spiral out of control. By observing thoughts without getting caught up in them, meditators develop the ability to disengage from anxious narratives and return their attention to what's happening right now. Specific meditation techniques for stress and anxiety. While all forms of meditation offer some degree of benefit, certain techniques are particularly effective for calming the nervous system and reducing anxiety. Let's explore a few of the most powerful ones and how to practice them. 1. Mindful breathing. At the core of nearly every meditation technique lies the breath, one of the most accessible and reliable anchors for presence. Mindful breathing involves paying attention to the sensation of the breath entering and leaving the body. You don't need to control your breath, simply notice it. Try this simple exercise. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Now, allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Bring your full attention to the rise and fall of your chest or belly. If your mind wanders, gently return your focus to the breath. Even 5 minutes of mindful breathing can begin to shift your nervous system into a calmer state. 2. Body scan meditation. Anxiety often manifests physically tight shoulders, clenched jaw, shallow breathing, stomach discomfort. The body scan meditation brings awareness to each part of the body, helping you reconnect with physical sensations and release areas of tension. Lie down or sit comfortably. Starting at the top of your head, slowly move your attention downward, noticing any feelings, warmth, tingling, or tightness. If you find tension in a particular area, breathe into it and imagine it softening with each exhale. This practice grounds you in the body and helps break the cycle of mental rumination. 3. Loving kindness meditation. Metta. As we explored in the previous chapter, metta meditation is a powerful antidote to anxiety, especially self-directed anxiety rooted in self-criticism or insecurity. Start by directing kind wishes toward yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Then extend these wishes outward to loved ones, neutral people, difficult individuals, and eventually all beings. This practice soothes the inner critic and builds emotional resilience. 4. Progressive muscle relaxation. Similar to the body scan, progressive muscle relaxation involves systematically tensing and releasing each muscle group, helping reduce physical tension and promote relaxation. Start with your feet and gradually move upward. Tense each muscle for a few seconds, then release completely. This technique is especially helpful for people who carry stress in their bodies. 5. Guided visualization. Visualization uses the power of imagination to create a sense of safety and peace. Close your eyes and picture a peaceful place, a beach, a forest, a mountain clearing. Imagine the details, the sound of waves, the rustle of leaves, the warmth of sunlight. Allow yourself to fully inhabit this space mentally, using all your senses. This kind of visualization can serve as a mental refuge during moments of high stress. 6. Mantra meditation. Repeating a calming word or phrase such as peace, ease, I am safe, or this will pass, helps quiet the mind and anchor attention. Silently repeat your chosen mantra while focusing on your breath. Over time, the repetition becomes soothing and stabilizing. 7. Walking meditation. For those who struggle with sitting still, walking meditation offers a dynamic alternative. Walk slowly and deliberately, paying attention to each step, each breath, and the movement of your body. This practice integrates mindfulness into motion and can be done anywhere in nature, indoors, even in a hallway. Practical tips for using meditation during moments of stress. Beyond formal seated practice, meditation also teaches skills you can use anytime, even in the middle of a stressful situation. Here are some practical ways to apply meditation principles in real time. 1. The 2-minute reset. When you feel overwhelmed, take 2 minutes to step away, even if only mentally. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and do a quick body scan, followed by 5 deep belly breaths. Then open your eyes and return with renewed clarity. 2. Box breathing, also known as square breathing. This technique is used by Navy SEALs and athletes to stay calm under pressure. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts. Repeat this cycle for several rounds to slow racing thoughts and regulate the nervous system. 3. Grounding through the senses. Bring your attention to your immediate sensory experience. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? This interrupts the cycle of anxious thinking and brings you back into the present. 4. Labeling emotions. Instead of getting lost in anxiety, try naming it. This is fear. This is uncertainty. This is my body responding. This helps you detach from the emotion and view it more objectively. 5. Using mantras on the go. Repeat a short phrase internally to steady your mind. This is temporary. I'm doing my best. I can handle this. These mini affirmations help shift your mindset in stressful moments. Meditation is not about eliminating stress. It's about changing your relationship with it. It's important to remember that meditation won't eliminate stress or prevent anxiety from arising altogether, nor should it. Stress is a natural part of life. It motivates us, alerts us to danger, and pushes us to grow. The key isn't to avoid stress, it's to develop the capacity to navigate it with skill and grace. Meditation gives us the tools to do just that. Instead of being swept away by anxious thoughts or physiological arousal, we learn to pause, breathe, observe, and respond wisely. We stop fighting the storm and instead, we learn how to dance in the rain. Over time, this creates a profound shift, not just in how we feel during meditation, but in how we meet the entire range of human experience. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to know that no matter how intense the moment feels, you can always come home to your breath, your body, and your presence. And in that space, however brief, you find peace. So, the next time anxiety tries to take over, remember, you are not helpless. You are not broken. You have within you the power to breathe, to return, and to heal. And with every mindful breath, you reclaim your power. Chapter 9, Meditation for Sleep and Relaxation. If you've ever lain awake at night staring at the ceiling, caught in a loop of thoughts about what went wrong during the day or what might go wrong tomorrow, you know how powerful stress can be when it comes to sleep. In fact, millions of people struggle with sleep issues, from difficulty falling asleep to waking up frequently throughout the night, or even waking up too early and being unable to fall back asleep. For many, sleep doesn't feel like rest. It feels like another task they're failing at. But the truth is, insomnia and poor sleep are not personal failures. They are often symptoms of an overactive nervous system, a racing mind, and a lifestyle that rarely offers true stillness or deep relaxation. The good news? Meditation has been shown to be one of the most effective tools for improving both the quality and quantity of sleep naturally, safely, and without side effects. Let's explore how meditation helps with sleep and relaxation, why it works so well, and how you can begin using simple mindfulness techniques tonight to drift into deeper, more restful states of being. The science of sleep and stress. Before we dive into specific practices, it's important to understand the connection between the brain, the body, and the sleep cycle. Sleep isn't simply a matter of turning off the lights and closing your eyes. It's a complex biological process regulated by the brain, hormones, and the autonomic nervous system. When everything is functioning optimally, the body follows a natural rhythm known as the circadian rhythm, which aligns with the rising and setting of the sun. As evening approaches, the brain begins releasing melatonin, a hormone that signals the body to wind down and prepare for rest. But this delicate balance can easily be disrupted, especially in modern life. Constant exposure to artificial light, especially blue light from screens, caffeine consumption later in the day, emotional stress, anxiety, and chronic rumination all interfere with the body's ability to transition into a relaxed state. What happens is this. Instead of entering the parasympathetic nervous system state, the rest and digest mode our bodies need to truly relax, many people remain stuck in the sympathetic nervous system state, the fight or flight response meant only for emergencies. This means the heart rate stays elevated, muscles stay tense, and the mind remains hyperactive, making it nearly impossible to fall asleep or stay asleep. This is where meditation becomes a game changer. How meditation helps you fall into deep sleep. Meditation doesn't just help you fall asleep faster. It trains your entire nervous system to enter into states of deep relaxation more easily and consistently. Here's how it works on multiple levels. 1. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. As we discussed earlier, meditation activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural relaxation response. This lowers heart rate, slows breathing, reduces blood pressure, and allows the body to shift into a state of calm conducive to sleep. Even short periods of daily meditation train the body to return to this state more quickly, especially when practiced before bed. 2. It quiets the default mode network. One of the biggest obstacles to sleep is mental chatter, the constant stream of thoughts running through the mind, often revolving around plans, worries, regrets, or fears. Neuroscientists have identified a network in the brain called the default mode network, which becomes active when the mind is at rest, and it's closely linked to self-referential thinking and mind-wandering. Studies show that regular meditation decreases activity in this network, reducing mindless rumination and allowing greater mental clarity and peace, both essential for healthy sleep. 3. It reduces cortisol levels. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, should drop at night to allow melatonin to rise and induce sleep. But for many people, cortisol remains high due to chronic stress, anxiety, or inconsistent routines. Meditation, particularly mindfulness-based and breath-focused practices, has been shown to significantly reduce cortisol levels, helping restore the body's natural hormonal rhythms for better sleep. 4. It increases melatonin production. Some studies suggest that meditation may also increase melatonin production directly. A study published in Medical Hypotheses found that participants who practiced meditation regularly had higher nighttime melatonin levels than non-meditators. Higher melatonin levels mean deeper, more restorative sleep and easier transitions into both falling asleep and staying asleep. 5. It breaks the cycle of performance anxiety around sleep. One of the most common causes of insomnia is performance anxiety. Worrying that you won't be able to fall asleep creates a vicious cycle where the very act of trying to sleep keeps you awake. Meditation breaks this cycle by encouraging acceptance rather than resistance. Instead of forcing yourself to fall asleep, meditation teaches you to gently guide your attention inward, training the mind to let go of effort and surrender to the present moment. Over time, this mindset shift takes the pressure off sleep and makes it easier to drift into rest naturally. Types of meditation that promote sleep and deep relaxation. While any form of meditation can support better sleep, some types are especially effective for winding down the nervous system and preparing the body for rest. Let's explore the most powerful ones and how to practice them. 1. Body scan meditation. The body scan is one of the most widely used techniques for sleep and relaxation. It involves mentally scanning your body from head to toe, noticing physical sensations and consciously releasing tension. Lie down comfortably and close your eyes. Bring your attention to the top of your head and slowly move downward, noticing areas of tightness, warmth, numbness, or ease. As you progress, imagine each part of your body becoming heavier and more grounded with every exhale. This practice calms the nervous system and pulls attention away from racing thoughts. You can find guided body scans online or create your own by silently observing each part of your body in sequence. 2. Progressive muscle relaxation. Similar to the body scan, progressive muscle relaxation involves systematically tensing and releasing each muscle group, helping reduce physical tension and promote deep relaxation. Start with your feet and work upward. Tense each muscle for 5 seconds, then release completely. Pay attention to the contrast between tension and relaxation. This technique is especially helpful for people who carry stress in their bodies, such as tight shoulders, clenched jaws, or sore backs. 3. Breathing meditation. Simple breath awareness is one of the most accessible and effective ways to calm the mind and prepare for sleep. Lie down or sit comfortably. Close your eyes and bring your full attention to your breath. Don't try to change it, just notice it. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs and leaving again. With each exhale, imagine letting go of the day, releasing mental clutter and sinking deeper into stillness. Thoughts will come, that's normal. Gently return your focus to the breath each time you notice your mind wandering. Even just 5 minutes of mindful breathing before bed can begin to shift your body into a more relaxed state. 4. Guided visualizations. Visualization uses the power of imagination to create a sense of safety, comfort, and peace, making it ideal for bedtime. Close your eyes and picture a peaceful place, a quiet forest, a warm beach, a cozy cabin in the mountains. Engage all your senses, listen to the sounds, feel the texture underfoot, smell the air. Allow yourself to fully inhabit this space mentally. You can use recorded visualizations or create your own mental journey. These kinds of meditations activate the brain's relaxation circuits and help disengage from stressful thoughts. 5. Loving-kindness meditation, metta. Loving-kindness meditation is a gentle, soothing way to end the day, especially if you tend to fall into self-criticism or worry before sleep. Begin by directing kind wishes toward yourself. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I live with ease. Then extend these wishes outward to loved ones, neutral people, difficult individuals, and eventually, all beings. This practice softens the heart, reduces anxiety, and promotes feelings of safety and belonging, all essential for deep sleep. 6. Yoga Nidra. Often described as yogic sleep, Yoga Nidra is a guided meditation that induces a state of deep relaxation while maintaining conscious awareness. It typically involves lying down and following a teacher's voice through various stages of relaxation, including body awareness, breath awareness, visualization, and affirmations. Many people fall asleep during Yoga Nidra, and that's perfectly fine. The practice still has a profound effect on the nervous system, offering the benefits of several hours of sleep in just 20-30 minutes. You can find free yoga nidra recordings online or through meditation apps. 7. Mantra, meditation. Repeating a calming word or phrase such as peace, ease, I am safe, or this will pass helps quiet the mind and anchor attention. Silently repeat your chosen mantra while focusing on your breath. Over time, the repetition becomes soothing and stabilizing, perfect for winding down before sleep. You can combine mantra repetition with breath awareness for a dual-layered relaxation effect. Practical tips for creating a meditative bedtime routine. Beyond a formal meditation, creating a consistent pre-sleep ritual that includes mindfulness elements can make a world of difference. Here are some practical steps you can take to build a meditative bedtime routine. 1. Turn off screens. 1 hour before bed, blue light suppresses melatonin production and keeps the brain in an alert state. Give your brain a break by disconnecting from devices at least an hour before sleep. Instead, read a book, journal, draw, or engage in simple mindfulness exercises. 2. Dim the lights and create a calm environment. Just as restaurants use dim lighting to encourage relaxation, you can do the same in your bedroom. Use soft lighting, candles, or Himalayan salt lamps to signal to your brain that it's time to wind down. Consider diffusing calming scents like lavender, sandalwood, or chamomile to enhance relaxation. 3. Drink a warm beverage. A cup of herbal tea such as chamomile, valerian root, or ashwagandha can help soothe the nervous system and prepare the body for sleep. Sip slowly, savoring the warmth and aroma, intentionally turning it into a small meditation in itself. 4. Journal or reflect. Sometimes sleeplessness stems from an overactive mind filled with unfinished thoughts. Writing them down can help clear mental clutter. Try keeping a gratitude journal or writing a few sentences about your day. No need to judge or analyze, just observe and let go. 5. Do gentle movement. Gentle stretching, yoga, or even slow walking around the house can help release physical tension and signal the body that it's time to rest. Focus on movements that feel grounding: forward folds, seated twists, shoulder rolls paired with deep, intentional breaths. 6. Practice meditation as you lie down. Once you're in bed, don't force yourself to fall asleep immediately. Instead, treat the act of lying down as part of your meditation. Bring your attention to your body, your breath, and any remaining thoughts. Allow yourself to simply be here now without pressure, without expectation. If sleep comes, welcome it. If not, enjoy the stillness and trust that your body is receiving nourishment nonetheless. Final thoughts. Meditation is a gift to your future self. Improving sleep isn't just about feeling rested. The next morning, it's about giving your body and mind the chance to heal, recover, and thrive. Every night offers a new opportunity to reset, to release the weight of the day, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to reconnect with the quiet wisdom within. Meditation gives you the tools to do just that, night after night, breath after breath. So, if you've struggled with sleep for years, or if you're just beginning to explore ways to relax more deeply, remember, you are not alone. And you are capable of creating peace starting tonight. As you settle into stillness, may your breath be steady, your mind be quiet, and your body be at ease. And may every night become a sacred return to rest, renewal, and inner peace. Chapter 10. Living Fully with Meditation. So far in this journey, we've explored meditation from many angles: what it is, how it changes the brain, its Buddhist roots, the power of mindfulness, breaking free from negative thinking, cultivating compassion, building a daily habit, managing stress and anxiety, and improving sleep and relaxation. But now let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Because meditation isn't just something you do for a few minutes each day, It's a way of being, a lens through which you can experience life more deeply, respond to challenges more wisely, and connect more fully with yourself and the world around you. At its heart, meditation teaches us not only how to sit in stillness, but how to live with presence, clarity, and grace. It's not about escaping life or achieving some perfect state of peace. It's about learning how to show up fully in every moment, no matter what life throws your way. In this chapter, we'll explore what it means to bring meditation off the cushion and into daily life. We'll look at how meditation transforms not just your mind, but your relationships, your creativity, your resilience, and ultimately your ability to live with meaning and joy. Because when you meditate regularly, something subtle yet profound begins to shift. You start to notice things you didn't before. You begin to see patterns in your thoughts, habits in your reactions, and choices in your actions that you once mistook as fixed parts of who you were. And with that awareness comes freedom, the freedom to choose how you want to respond instead of simply reacting on autopilot. Meditation awakens you to the present moment. One of the most powerful gifts of meditation is that it brings you back to life, to the raw, vivid, unfiltered experience of being alive right now. Most of the time, our minds are caught in one of two places, replaying the past or projecting into the future. We relive old regrets, worry about what might go wrong tomorrow, plan for next week, or fantasize about some distant goal. But life doesn't happen in memory or imagination. It happens now, always now. Meditation trains you to return to this moment again and again, not just during formal practice, but throughout the day. And as you develop this muscle of presence, you begin to notice how much richness exists in the ordinary details of life. You start to hear the sound of the wind more clearly. You taste your food with more appreciation. You feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin. You notice the expression in someone's eyes when they speak. You become more attuned to the rhythms of your body, the shifts in your mood, the quiet joys hidden in the mundane. This is living fully not because everything is perfect, but because you're truly here for it all. Meditation deepens your relationship with yourself. When you sit down to meditate, you're doing more than just resting the mind. You're entering into a relationship with yourself. You're choosing to spend time with your own experience without distraction, entertainment, or escape. You're allowing yourself to be seen by yourself. And in that space of self-encounter, something sacred unfolds. You begin to understand yourself more clearly. You see the ways you avoid discomfort, cling to control, or get lost in stories about who you think you should be. You start to recognize the voice of your inner critic and learn how to respond with kindness instead of harsh judgment. Over time, this practice softens the edges between who you are and who you believe you need to be. You stop rejecting parts of yourself and begin embracing them with curiosity and compassion. You start to trust yourself more, to know that even when things feel uncertain or difficult, you have within you the capacity to stay grounded, breathe through the storm, and emerge stronger. That kind of self-trust becomes the foundation for living authentically, for speaking your truth, setting boundaries, pursuing purpose, and showing up as your true self in every area of life. Meditation enhances your relationships. If meditation deepens your relationship with yourself, it also naturally improves your relationships with others. Why? Because when you're less reactive, more present, and more compassionate toward yourself, those qualities naturally extend outward. Think about it. When your nervous system is regulated, you're less likely to snap at someone when stressed. When you're aware of your thoughts and emotions, you're better able to communicate clearly and listen deeply. When you cultivate loving kindness, you radiate warmth and understanding even in challenging situations. Meditation helps dissolve the illusion of separation, reminding us that beneath all differences, we all desire happiness and fear suffering. This realization makes it easier to empathize with others, even those we disagree with. It softens judgments, reduces conflict, and opens the door to deeper connection. Whether in friendships, romantic relationships, family dynamics, or professional settings, meditation enhances emotional intelligence, allowing you to navigate interpersonal challenges with more patience, wisdom, and care. Meditation fuels creativity and clarity. Many artists, writers, musicians, and innovators have credited meditation with unlocking new levels of creativity and insight. And there's good reason for that. When you meditate, you give your mind a break from constant information processing. You step out of analysis, planning, and problem solving and into a state of open awareness. In this space, the subconscious mind has room to breathe, new ideas surface, intuitive insights arise, blocks dissolve. Many people report experiencing creative breakthroughs during or after meditation, whether it's a new idea for a project, a fresh perspective on an old challenge, or inspiration for their next piece of art. Even scientists and entrepreneurs have turned to meditation to enhance innovation. The ability to quiet mental noise and access deeper states of focus allows for clearer thinking and more original solutions. So, if you consider yourself a creator, whether in the arts, business, education, or parenting, meditation can become a powerful ally in nurturing your creativity and bringing your vision into reality. Meditation builds resilience and inner strength. Life will always have its ups and downs. No amount of effort can eliminate difficulty entirely, and that's okay. What meditation gives you is not a shield from pain, but a stronger internal foundation to weather the storms when they come. Through regular practice, you build mental resilience, the ability to face adversity with courage, adapt to change, and recover more quickly from setbacks. Instead of being overwhelmed by loss, failure, or disappointment, you learn to hold these experiences with gentleness and wisdom. You begin to see impermanence not just as a source of suffering, but as a source of possibility. You realize that nothing lasts forever, not the highs, and especially not the lows. This understanding doesn't take away the pain, but it gives you the strength to move through it with dignity, grace, and hope. You become like water, flexible enough to bend with life's currents, yet strong enough to carve paths through even the hardest stone. Meditation encourages purposeful action. One of the greatest misconceptions about meditation is that it turns people passive or detached, as if becoming more peaceful somehow removes motivation or ambition. But the opposite is true. Meditation doesn't remove action, it clarifies intention. When your mind is calm and clear, you're less driven by external pressures, comparison, or fear-based goals. Instead, you begin to align with what truly matters to you, what lights you up, what serves others, what feels meaningful. This clarity ignites purpose-driven action, the kind that's rooted in integrity, guided by values, and fueled by a sense of contribution rather than competition. You start to make decisions that reflect who you really are, not who you think you should be. You say yes to what nourishes you and no to what drains you. You pursue work that aligns with your values, relationships that support growth, and habits that promote well-being. In short, meditation helps you live not just longer but deeper, not just busier but more intentional. Meditation cultivates joy and gratitude. Perhaps one of the most beautiful transformations that occurs through long-term meditation is the natural rise of joy and gratitude. Not temporary happiness based on circumstances, but a deep, steady contentment that comes from within. As you release the need for things to be different in order to be happy, you begin to find beauty in the imperfect, fleeting moments of life. You start to appreciate small wonders, a warm cup of tea, a smile from a stranger, laughter shared with friends, the sound of rain against the window. Gratitude becomes a natural reflex, not a forced practice. You see goodness everywhere, not because life is perfect, but because your awareness has widened to include both the light and the shadow. And in that expanded awareness, you discover a quiet, unwavering joy not dependent on achievement or approval, but born from simply being alive and fully present. Meditation is a lifelong journey. Meditation isn't a race to enlightenment, nor is it a checklist to complete. It's a lifelong unfolding a path of discovery, healing, transformation, and integration. Some days your mind may be calm and focused. Other days it might feel restless, distracted, or full of resistance. That's normal. Every session, even the difficult ones, is part of the process. The key is consistency, patience, and kindness toward yourself. Each breath you bring to meditation is shaping your brain, your mindset, your life. Each moment you return to presence is strengthening your ability to meet life with openness, wisdom, and love. And over time, you begin to see that meditation isn't just something you do, it's something you become. A calmer presence in chaotic situations, a kinder voice in moments of frustration, a steadier anchor in times of uncertainty, a more awake witness to the miracle of being alive. Final words. Let meditation guide your way forward. As you continue forward from this moment, I invite you to carry the spirit of meditation with you, not just during your formal practice, but in everything you do. Let it be your compass in decision-making. Your sanctuary in times of stress. Your reminder to slow down and savor the moment. Your gentle hand guiding you back to peace whenever life feels overwhelming. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you can always return to the breath. You can always return to the present moment. You can always return home to yourself. And in that return lies freedom, joy, clarity, peace. Thank you for taking this journey with me. May you walk forward with presence, purpose, and heart. And may every breath remind you this is your life. Now is your time. And you are exactly where you need to be. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to thank you for being here, for showing up not just to watch a video, but to explore something deeper within yourself. Meditation isn't just a technique, it's a doorway into presence, peace, and a more conscious way of living. It doesn't require special conditions, expensive tools, or hours of time. It only asks that you begin with one breath, one moment of stillness, one act of kindness toward yourself. And if you've never meditated before, know this. You've already taken the first step by simply watching this because awareness is always the beginning of change. Throughout this journey, we've explored how meditation transforms the brain, reduces stress, improves sleep, cultivates compassion, and brings clarity to even the busiest minds. But beyond all the science, studies, and techniques is something much simpler, much quieter. Meditation reminds us of who we are beneath the noise. It reminds us that we are not our thoughts, not our worries, not our past mistakes or future fears. We are the space in which all of these arise, vast, open, and full of potential. Every time you return your attention to the breath, every time you pause instead of react, every time you choose presence over distraction, you are reclaiming your power. You're choosing alignment over automaticity. Stillness over overwhelm. Peace over pressure. And that choice, however small it may feel, ripples outward. It affects your relationships. Your work. Your creativity. Your sense of purpose. Even the way you move through the world. So wherever you are right now, whether you're brand new to meditation or deepening a long-standing practice, I encourage you to keep going. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what feels possible. 5 minutes a day can change your life. 10 minutes can transform your mind. And 20, that might be the space where you remember who you truly are. If you found value in this video, please consider liking it, subscribing to the Mindful Zone, and sharing it with someone who could use a little more calm in their life. And don't forget to take a deep breath right now, in and out. That was a meditation. Simple, powerful, free. You've got everything you need already within you. All that remains is to begin again, and again, and again, until one day you realize you no longer need to escape from life to find peace. Because peace has become the way you live. Thank you for being here. From my heart to yours, keep breathing, keep coming home to yourself, and keep growing. This is not the end, it's just the next breath. Stay mindful, stay present, and I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.